I started, I had my own design creative consultancy for a while after I left the major agencies. And I was in a village in Yunlong where there is a Hakka village. I started learning like secrets to ancient Chinese cooking there. So I started that farm to table thing where I grow my own stuff and I use the old techniques. And then I tried it for fun and I let people book it. And then I got very booked out for weeks or even months because I was only doing it for the weekends. And then I got some interviews and then I got an offer to take up this preservation building in Wan Chai, which it's called Yin Yang as it is now. So I decided to give up my day job and take things seriously. So I've turned a full-time chef. And because Wan Chai was getting too commercial, I've moved back to another village right here, which is right on the beach, where I can do a little bit of like coastal culture of Hong Kong in the food, sort of reinventing things and using my creative ideas to do something more interesting. It's helping me a lot because in these days, people don't actually read much more printed media. So a lot of people follow social media, and then gradually you build up your base, and then you gradually get people, the right people, who recognize you for what you do, and then you become more popular as a chef. I've always liked working with colors, and I like doing magic with things. That's what they tell me. I was actually involved in a TV series with the local paid channel a while ago for quite a few years. And it always make me do these magic tricks. So the Magic Man, which is the nickname of a jockey that you have there, inspired me to do what I'm doing actually. So I'm making, it's like basically this is like more like a starter plate of the vegetables I grow. We grow our own stuff, but in winter the colors are magical. You've got purple, a lot of purple. You've got greens, a lot of greens. So I'm using that as contrast to create a magic winter wonderland. First, I'll put the centerpiece in there. Now, this is the blue sauce created with red cabbage. Once you put clam in it, it's actually cabbage and clam soup. Once you put clam in it, it turns blue. And, Joe Herrera's Chinese nickname is like thunder god. So, Loi San. So I want it to be associated with the skies and its colors turning. So I will put the sauce in the middle first. That leaf there is a Japanese leaf that I grow outside. See, that's the blue sauce. And then there is this other purple vegetable that goes on top. Okay, can you see that? Now, yep. First I'll put colors around the others. And this purple radish here also turns pink if you put vinegar into it. But the most drastic change in color comes from lemon. When you add lemon to a seafood sauce, like this blue sauce, now let's get really close on this, and we move closer. Okay, here we go. The whole thing will turn pink in a while. Can you see that? And then I will add a dash of green to contrast that. Now mix the colors up with a bit of oil. There's more pink coming out now. Can you see that? The pink will take over the blue. I've watched it only once inside the grounds on site. And I don't know much about it. I just follow what people do. And I think I won something. When I was about to go to university, I had to choose between cooking or communications. In those days, you don't have such things as a master chef course. So if you want to study cooking, you have to go overseas, leave your family, and then you have to come back and teach, which I have no interest in whatsoever. So I chose communications because I do like designs and drawings and stuff like that, art things. Actually, to be pragmatic, I chose communications instead because I could stay in Hong Kong and I could stay with my parents, and I don't have to be a teacher. So, but after all that, when I was even in my first job at J. Will Thompson, when I was there, I kept getting these food clients. I kept coming up with the recipes instead of hiring an outside home economist, which we did in those days. And the client said, "Hey, no, I like that idea of yours. Why don't we use this recipe?" I kept doing it and doing it. By the end of it, like when I had my own consultancy, I was like doing mostly food clients. I do the recipes, I do the design, the layouts, I shoot, I get photographers to shoot it, I do the food styling, everything. So I finally decided that is my job, so I changed. I think it perhaps weren't more creative, but it had more now we have more inspiration, I have to say, because it's even more international than now with the social media and internet and everything. We get feeded a lot more information for inspiration. But in those days, it's more into you don't get more creative. You have more tools to be creative because you get more support. You get more staff around an agency to help you with things, and then you are free to do whatever you like because creative is supposed to be a more important thing than the rest of the disciplines. Whereas now, I think in the recent years, sales has overtaken a lot of creative importance, if you like. I totally agree with you. That's part of the reason why I left the creative industry for my day job, because I find that it is more sales driven. Advertising what has become more sales driven. Like they have to sell products, not build brands. And that's why the creative freedom is lost. And there is people get less creative. Oh, how do I sell 10 million packages of instant noodles, for instance, rather than building a long-term brand like what we learned? I think that's the difference. Even in our days, I have to say there were ideas, but there were also There were a lot of plagiarism too, but they were original ones as well. But now there's nothing. There's not even plagiarism. There's not a good at sort of borrowed ideas from an overseas ad. They're just straightforward, no idea execution ideas. If I were to rebrand Hong Kong today, not as before, I would say it would be, it would never, actually, Hong Kong is not totally Chinese. It has always been mixed cultures. When I was researching into Hong Kong identity and Hong Kong food, I couldn't find anything except for the fishermen's stuff, which is again borrowed from here and there. But there's a lot of different ethnic groups. And I think that's the beauty of Hong Kong. And if I were to rebrand Hong Kong today, I think it still exists. It's a mixture of different cultures. It is not, I mean, you look at, say, for instance, food. You look at Cantonese food. It's not food from Guangzhou. It is Hong Kong food. You get lemongrass, you get foie gras. It's all mixed, and you get you still get bits of the colonial leftovers in the style of cooking. So if I was to brand it again, like the people was still full of, as you visit different parts of Hong Kong, there's still a predominant local culture, as in like district culture. Like in Yuen Long is Hakka, in Kowloon City is Chiu Chow, and in perhaps some of the places like near the fishing villages is the original honkies who lived here. Then there's the modern group. There's the more westernized group who's either American or British influenced. And now these days, a lot of younger generation go to study in Australia. So you get a whole bunch of those. There's still a mixture of different cultures, unlike other countries. But you can't define it. You can't really take one culture out and say that is it. That's why it has always been so difficult for Hong Kong to get an identity, cultural identity of its own, because it's not one culture. It's like a kaleidoscope. It's very colorful. Yeah, kaleidoscope. How's that for a creative idea? It's mixed, it changes, never finished. Sure. What do you suggest? Any. I love doing things that are unusual in TV programs. When I was at Now TV, the part that I was in charge for, amongst other chefs, was cooking out of a book. They would pick something out of a book which has no recipes, and I just imagine it, and then I make it up, and like somebody ate this in 1922, and then I just get a name and I create it. It's fun.